Time for the second session of the chase here, and you're very welcome back to the coverage. You're watching us live from Texas. We're at the Grand Prairie Stadium. Nepal need 282 to win. Got a good partnership that's building up nicely between Kushal Bertel and Anil Sah. And you've got the company of me, Andrew Leonard, who has Aman Patel alongside him in the commentary box, as I have throughout the series. It's been great to have you with me, Aman. Really enjoyed it. Good afternoon to you firstly. Good afternoon to everyone watching, or good evening, or even good morning back in Nepal. Have we got another thriller in our hands? The last USA-Nepal game went all the way down to the penultimate ball. Shadli Vanchkalkovich hit a 6 to win it. Is this destined to be another classic between these two sides? It almost always seemed to be hard to separate.
Yeah, good afternoon to you as well, Lenny. And yeah, it seems to be destined to be that way, especially with the fans starting to trickle in, and they're getting worth the price of admission. That's to say the least. And again, the way these two teams have gone at it, they're evenly poised at this stage, which we didn't reckon would have been the case headed into that first strings, but Nepal has fought really well, especially with that early barrage from the USA. And taking notes from Scotland, weather the storm and your time will come.
Yeah, and also, I don't think USA's fielding's let them down yet. Actually, it's been good. It's held up, with one exception, Shrivastava in the second over. But they do just have this habit, don't they, of going a little quiet in the field, and that can make it feel like, particularly when the Nepal fans are in on top of you, that they're even further in front. Stay on. And Shadli Vanchkalkovich just down below us. He's having a lot of fun with these fans, isn't he? Different kind of relationship to the one that Jesse Singh was having with them. A charismatic guy, and I think he loves playing in front of fans. We've seen him be really good since he's come over to America.
Yeah, incredibly personable. He wants to interact with every single person around him. He's always got something kind of... a key figure in the States. He plays a lot of his cricket in Seattle, in the Seattle area, and he's brought his bowling likes up there. You see it with the ball in hand. It's been a story of Harmeet Singh's been effective and economical, and you have the one wicket from Jesse Singh, but you just feel that Nepal have gotten used to every bowler and been able to take them on.
I also just see in that graphic, Madank Patel just continues to only want to use 5 bowlers. Seen change in the field. Look, Shrivastava taken out of long on and put into cover where he was so good in his first ODI. Part of the reason for that is Harmeet Singh wanted the taller man, Vanchkalkovich, at long on. All these little small, less than 1%ers can matter. Aaron Jones's position is an interesting one, isn't it? He's in at first slip, but it's very deep. And it's quite wide. Is the ball going to carry there?
I don't reckon it is. Harmeet Singh's not flying it through. It's not pace on. Yeah, they're playing with heavy hands, trying to push the ball, but I reckon he can afford to take one step forward. I like the width in which he's at, but it's just a touch too deep.
And Harmeet Singh strikes. Bertel loves that sweep shot. But if he misses on that line, the bowler is going to hit. And it's the off-stump rock back. We said Nepal needed to keep Harmeet Singh out of the wickets. They haven't been able to do that, as Bertel falls for 29. It's a risky stroke, isn't it? And Harmeet Singh right on the money.
Remarkably, only his 8th ODI wicket. And this is 10th inning, but you just take a look at the shot selection here. It's just a poor shot, you reckon. You don't need to try to force the sweep, force the scoring option to Harmeet Singh. We spoke about it. You have the time. Take him and just play him out. Score off everyone else. Kushal Bertel gets a start, 29 off of 51, but won't be able to cash in. That's the biggest thing. You can't let Harmeet Singh get in. And once you've started to score, you have to be able to cash in on it.
Kushalmala to the crease at number 4. Not the captain, Road Powdle, yet. Big day for this young man, isn't it? He's got lots of little scores of late, but nothing too substantial outside of that one knock in the T20s. He's had very high career strike rates early in his career, and his game's just evolving a touch, you sense. Clearly a tactical choice here to get the left-hand, right-hand combination in, particularly with the left-arm spinners bowling.
Yeah, and you expect them to kind of bowl in tandem here with Nash Kenjige at one end of the ground and Harmeet Singh from this end. So just to try to throw off line and length, and Kushalmala can take the attack on. But again, like you said, the way he's added to the game, just to be able to stick in, hold himself together, and then push ones and twos, I think will be very important, especially to Harmeet Singh. I think the tactical plan has been to take on Kenjige, but Singh you don't want to give away.
Great over from Harmeet Singh, including the big wicket. 19 bowled, 79 for 2.
New man with the ball. Again, we saw him with the bat a lot yesterday, 2 days ago, but it's Utkarsh Srivastava who's going to come in and bowl his off spinners, and that's part of the reason why he's in the side. He hasn't bowled in international cricket yet, but he bowled very consistently as a part of the USA Under-19 team. Took wickets in the Under-19 World Cup, and it's part of his game that he's continued to adapt and bring in. Be interesting starting off to the right-hander.
Yeah, just the second over we've seen from a sixth bowler or more on this entire homestand of 7 games that they've played. So it shows that Manak Patel probably has reviewed the match the other day and thought that 6 overs of 7 from one end for Jesse Singh was far too much, and really kind of was a bit of a hospital pass for him. So if he can get in even 3 or 4 cheap overs, let alone pick up a surprise wicket, and it's a win-win. That's why you use a sixth bowler in ODI cricket. It's to give you that freedom and flexibility of bowling options towards the third and final power play. Bowled quite a bit, you were saying, down at the 19s World Cup.
Yeah, he did, and he bowled all the way in really the pathway events to get to that Under-19 World Cup as well, in the games leading up to that, and to make that Under-19 team. He bowled in every single game. Really was thought of as an all-rounder in that team, and that's why he was able to slide in a bat at number 6. And in those 8 matches that he played, he bowled in 7 innings, took 6 wickets at an economy rate 3.07, so it wasn't 50 over cricket. But again, that's the best of the youth crop the USA had to offer. So this is a skill set that he's continued to work on. And talking to him, it's something that he is very aware of that he has, and he's very aware that it just enhances him as a cricketer. He doesn't want to be a one-facet guy. So it's always good to just have that extra skill. You think about Rohit Paudel, Dipender Singh Airi, just having those couple of extra skills and utilities that can be called upon. Even Kushalmala, more known for what he does with the bat, but his left arm spin today, those 6 overs, very vital. Came down and were very economical to pick the bowlers today. And you can see nothing fancy from Srivastava, just line and length, and just gives up the 3 runs from his first over in ODI international cricket. This one just getting the bat down was Kushamala. Actually the one that just straightened up quite a bit.
Country's cause hugely. Spin to win, it feels like, all of a sudden. You can understand why the 6th use of this pitch in terms of number of innings, 3rd game day. Now for me, you could see the attempt from Kushal Bertel to get the scoreboard going. Beautifully bowled, wider the crease, dips and turns, very hard to play that. Good glove work too from Jahangir. Bertel's attempt to get the scoreboard going was to go to the sweep. Sa and Mala need to find a way to prevent the number of dots that are being bowled all of a sudden, as they just stack up, and also find the occasional boundary. Right now there's no signs of either of those things happening.
And this is why giving your wicket to Harmeet Singh in the middle of his spell is such a big deal. Because you know things are going to be tight and consistent. The runs are going to be hard to come by. And now you're trying to get Kushamala into the game, trying to let him feel himself out, whilst the scoreboard pressure is starting to mount. This is why Kushal Bertel couldn't have afforded to play that sweep.
Stack up these dots. Well, we said Harmeet Singh would be a big factor. He's bowled 4 overs here, the best part of. He's got 1 for 4. It's a maiden. Nepal going nowhere. USA getting on top in this 2nd session. 82 for 2.
And now it almost makes this over if Srivastava one you have to score off of, or at least find a boundary or 2 just to ease some of that pressure. I get the single straight away, and again the big thing is you just got to find a way to continue to rotate. And if you're not going to score off Harmeet Singh, which is fine, you're not going to be really able to. Don't give him the wickets, but be able to find runs elsewhere. You can't let Srivastava go out and bowl an over worth 3 runs. It's not a winning formula. You got to be able to consistently do this, turn runs off every delivery and slip in. Now it has to be the odd boundary pretty consistently. Srivastava will like the matchup of the left-hander. And for Kushamala, he's just got to stay patient. Again, that hard-hitting background can't affect him right now. It's well bowled from Srivastava. He's got a couple of different deliveries. He's got a couple that'll come back in, the arm ball. And he'll like the matchup again with the left-hander. Getting the ball to turn away, but then the odd one to slip back through. Good sharp stuff. Again, he's not trying to reinvent the wheel. I think that's the biggest thing from Srivastava. He's just gone right outside the off stump and bowled every delivery there and dared Mala to go different.
How many times did we say in the first innings, do the basics right? Just a day that it really, in the most helpful of conditions, it completely eluded Nepal's bowlers, with the occasional exception, but probably 40 of the 50 overs delivered, they just didn't do even a semblance of the basics right. And that's why they're behind the 8 ball now. 7 runs required per over. Bit of innovation. There's 2 men there on the reverse sweep, so I'm not sure that a conventional sweep wouldn't have been a better option, hitting with the spin. 22 bowled, 85 for 2. Nepal in trouble. And they have to do something better here, don't they, Nepal, just to find a way into this contest. I don't mind Mala starting slowly because he's got such power. And I can tell you for a fact, I'm not in the team hotel on this trip, but in the last trip in Canada I was getting down to lift my paltry 5 kilogram weights and do a little run on the treadmill. Mala was pounding out big numbers. He himself and Karen KC without. Look at the size of Kushal Mala, monster. And they're the two in the team that are probably stronger than anyone, and it's no surprise alongside Dipender Singh Airi. As Russell Warren shows why he used to be a keeper at Northants, good hands. As they're the biggest six hitters. So I don't mind him, even if he just, let's say, gets to 10 off 20 or 10 off 25. He catches up so quickly. But it's about himself given a chance to do what he's been sent in to do, which is to take down the left arm spinners. Now long on is in place, but there's nobody in between. Long on and deep mid wicket in the outside the circle. So there's a mid wicket in the circle, but he's about 15 yards from the bat. So you'd imagine that hitting with the spin, kind of either there or straight down the ground, where there's probably 40 yards between long off and long on, but it might be 60 yards between mid wicket and long on. But that's got to be one of the real boundary options for Mala. And you'll have to take some risk. It's just a case of when you start to take that risk. I'm not suggesting now, maybe bat for 3 or 4 or 5 more overs, but then 1 boundary, 2 boundaries, 3 boundaries starts to change the game. So it's about building that innings, a little bit like we said, Sandeep Lamachani earning his way into his spell. Kushal Mala's got to earn his way into his innings by getting the pace of the wicket. Isn't a huge amount of turn. It's not sharp turn anyway, just a bit there for the spinners. Just got to pick the right length and go after. Might be Kenjige as opposed to Harmeet Singh when Kenjige comes back in. 23 bowled, another tight over from Harmeet Singh. 89 for 2. How do you assess the kind of first? I think after this Netherlands series, we're going to have close to a third of the games played for all of the teams. How do you assess the kind of the first year of the second edition of ICC Men's Cricket World Cup League 2?
Well, Canada got off to the best start of any team. They used their early advantage to their credit. USA probably had the best overall year, just all formats, and they were able to take advantage of that momentum headed into the ODIs. I think for Nepal, for them to really get back into that top 4 conversation, they're going to have to put on some wins. Again, this win today against the USA, if we play Monday against Scotland, and then really ramp them up, because they're struggling in that bottom 3, and Oman are starting to pile on some wins. The UAE still struggling there. That's the one godsend, but bigger than maybe even if you don't make the top 4, you keep yourself out of the top 2, and Nepal are too good of a side to lose the ODI status if they just keep down this trend. Long way to go. Not saying that they will. I think similar to Scotland, they're starting to find a little bit more of their momentum headed into that top 4. So I think the middle is very jam-packed. I think the top 4 will end up being jam-packed. I think you'll have 1 probably all by themselves, and then 2, 3, 4 will be between probably 5 of the teams on the list fighting for those 3 spots, and we'll see which 3 teams those are.
Yeah, I think for UAE as well, they've got to kind of pretty quickly find a way to not become the Papua New Guinea of this second cycle. They've had a change of captain. Rahul Chopra's been given the armband. I think many expected that. I was reading Paul Radley's piece, that the fine writer that he is for the national newspaper in the UAE, about their upcoming tour, and wondering where is it going wrong for UAE's 50 over cricket. There's so much going for them in the shorter formats. And they're 16th in the world in the T20I standings, but actually if you look at the ODI rankings, they're 20th and bottom, and they're probably deservedly so 20th and bottom. 50 over cricket. There's so many short formats. Just one more look at the points table here. So they've got to find a way to not be cut a gulf at the bottom. But equally, Nepal have to find a way to not be stuck in the bottom two with them. So that's why these two games, I know we're over 2 years out from the end of this league, but Nepal, if they lost these two games today and Monday, if we can play Monday, and then if UAE had another bad tour, which if you look at the first game, bowled out for 140, losing to an Oman side that we barely even recognised. Well, ODI status is on the line, funding is on the line, so much is on the line in this league. Cut away for 4. A little bit lucky Kushal Malla here, but he does get his first boundary. It was at a catchable height, but it went right between the two men. Was this good placement, or was this a bit of luck?
I think a little bit of both. I think he's definitely tried to play it behind point, but it's definitely gone more uppish than he would have liked to, and just bisected those fielders. He'll take it here, Nepal. Need any bit of runs you can get, especially because Srivastava wasn't able to bowl, and he's only give up the 8 runs in his 4 overs. You can't allow Utkarsh Srivastava to come in for the first time and do that.
Yeah, that's the maturation in Mala's game that, being honest, I don't think he had 2 or 3 years ago. Previously, he'd have hit a boundary like that and he'd have tried to pump the next one for 6. This is the byproduct of a lot of work with some exceptional coaches, with Monty Desai, with Jagat Tamat, who's here, and with Pupadu Dasanayake, the former Nepal head coach, who's back here as a team mentor. They have definitely worked on that. They've clearly worked on that boundary. Get a single. And his dead ball to signal, Daniel Sa not ready. He's such a talent. I know some fans have been very harsh on him and said, why is he in the team? But he's that good, potentially. You want to give him every opportunity. That's probably why he was promoted up the order. And you've seen some of the shots he's hit and can hit. Not many batters in the world can do that. He hit one last summer in the Cricket World Cup qualifier. That was against Zimbabwe at the HSC. There's a few boos ring around the ground. No idea what's going on there. The HSC's main grandstand, I think it's about 35 rows high. It's massive. Malla hit one. And I don't think I was actually on air. I think I was in the green room with Ian Bishop at the time. He hit one up to about the 30th row of that 35th. And the two of us were talking at the time, but as soon as the ball was hit, it echoed around that wonderful venue. And Ian Bishop goes, who's this boy who's just hit that? And I said, well, Kushal Malla, mate, I think I said he's a freak or a phenom, and he's a bit of both. He is an X factor, unlike many young cricketers I've seen. I'm not saying he's a finished article, he's not. But I love the faith that Monty Desai is showing him. Saw it in the T20s. And we might just do it again. Get to the end of the 25th. It's 99 for 2. Halfway stage of the chase. They're not quite halfway there. They're not even more than a third of the way there, really. So they need to pick it up. Going to be a change in bowling. Now, this for me is a sign that Manik Patel doesn't want to have to bowl Jesse Singh too much at the death. So he's going to go to him now. Do Nepal try to shift gears here and start to attack Jesse Singh?
You got to attack somebody, and if Jesse Singh is slightly wayward, whether that's due to a slight niggle or just lack of rhythm, you have to take advantage. And Anil Shah, for me, who was 40 off of 56, has since, in the next almost 20 deliveries, has piled up 8 runs. He's got to shift into the next gear, and Jesse Singh's the bowler to do it against.
That's the 100 up. I think when the fans see the big screen, Yeah, probably start to cheer. God, look at that. Even converting some local fans, aren't they? She is Floyd. She is does the ground announcing here, doesn't she, for the MLC?
She did. She was also here for the World Cup, the MC for that.
Yes.
Yeah, she was all over.
Taken in by the Nepal fans a bit, enjoying the.
Well, she was surrounded by them when Nepal played here for sure. So I think she got her jersey and she converted it into a Nepal fan. And why not? There's worse teams to be rooting for around the world.
Yeah, too right. Particularly, I suppose, if you think of all the Texas Nepali community, you know, the number of them here. What's the shape? We want 6, I think it might be coming from the crowd, or either we want 6 or we want sing. Maybe a bit of both from the Nepal fans. Interesting to see Shrivastava taken off. Would you have kept him going?
I reckon you probably could have snuck one more in there, just because, again, the spin is working. These two haven't found any real rhythm. I just think you're just trying to keep Jesse Singh out of the death for as long a period of time as you can. You probably will have to bowl a little bit, but you don't want him bowling majority in that last 10 and headed into the 26th over. I think one of them also felt I'd probably sneaking it over of Jesse Singh if he's not feeling 100%, while these two are still low on rhythm. I can sneak him in now.
Great story, Anil Shah. First debuted in international cricket over 6 years ago. Played a couple of the games against Kenya as part of the old World Cricket League structure in February 2018, and then drifted miles out of contention after a handful of appearances, and really I don't think many thought that he was going to get back and get another chance, but then a prolific domestic season this year has guided him back into national team colours, and he gets to another 50 since he's returned. That's now his 5th 50-plus score. It's his 4th ODI half-century to go alongside that 100. He's averaging just a tick over 30. And the strike rate pretty good career-wise, over 90, just 60 today. He'll need to improve that, but if he doubles that 50 up, man, Nepal might be in with a real chance.
Yeah, he's got to get that strike rate up, but he's got it. I think more importantly for Nepal, he sticks it, and I think he's understood that. It's why he's changed the gears in the last 21 deliveries. He's only scored the 10 runs, but more importantly, he's in the middle. And it's going to take double this to get Nepal over the line. They're going to have to find one bat to stick through with the power of Gulshan with Gulshan Jah. You have plenty of quick run scorers. You need one anchor, and I think Anil Shah is going to be that anchor.
Yeah, you don't need to catch up by hitting 6s from this ball, but if you can turn that 100 into, let's say 100 not out off 127, you scored a run of ball from here.
Yep.
That's a great knock. And actually, with all that Gulshan Jah to come up the order, Dependra Singh Airi, the 6 hitting potential, then it becomes an anchoring match-winning knock in its own way. He's done all the hard work. He got through the tough stuff early when it was very difficult, and Netravalkar's first 4 overs were so good. So well played, Anil Shah. Can you double it up now? And can Kushal Malla start to show his power hitting? Because he's only going at a strike rate of 50 at the moment. Jesse Singh, well, you got to give him credit for his toughness and trying to gut it out, but he doesn't look great. I don't know.
That's what's going to have to happen as the 26 comes to an end, 102 for 2. And it's very smart for Monan Qatar to get his over back in here, because now you can assess this and say, okay, he can bowl, or it's he might have one more in him, or just hold him out. He's done for the tour. Let's just go Utkarsh from one end. We have Nash, we have Harmeet. We'll let Shadley Van Skalkvik and Sarabnet Valkar bowl in tandem at the death. And then if you need an extra bowler, you can then go Sanjay Krishnamurti as your extra spinner.
Now, this is a fascinating move from Mayank Patel. He's taking Harmeet Singh off, not because he's not bowling well, quite to the contrary, because he wants to preserve 4 of his overs. Doesn't want to bowl his kind of star bowler today in these conditions out. So what he's going to do, he's going to go to Kenjigay, keep the left arm spin from this end, and I would suspect we're going to see Kushal Malla go at Kenjigay here. I think it might even be this over. I don't think it's going to take long. He's a different kind of bowler to Harmeet Singh. Mala, it's a matter of time, isn't it? There's a ticking time bomb out there. Pyrotechnics might be coming.
Yeah, it just felt like one of these two were going to have to go after him, whether it going to be Sa or Mala. And Mala, again, has so much power. If he gets the ball turning back into him, Nash has to be very careful with his lengths here. Don't want to be too wide or too straight.
And you can see there, he's basically just bowled that into the surface as quick as he could. He doesn't want to toss it up. He knows if he tosses it up, most likely the end result is the Chinese lantern display at the racecourse end of the ground is having some damage done to it. But it shows the amount of scouting these days that's done on players. In years gone by, he'd have walked to the crease, he'd have got 3 floated up to start with, he'd have hit 3 sixes. Now they know about his power. Not too sure about this field. Man for the right-hander. Just gives a single into the leg side really, doesn't it? But look at Mala, almost flexing his bicep, saying, Nosh, I'm coming after you.
Again, you just expect it to be short and quick and dart it in. So Mala might just try to get creative, whether that is to move a little bit away from his stumps, give himself room to play over cover on the offside, or shuffle all the way across, looking to almost pull.
Again, Kenjige goes into the surface. He's not going to get much full, is he, Mala, because they know what he's trying to do. He's got to start. I've heard him speak about how he feels like he needs to count to 10 or 15 in his innings, just in terms of the number of balls, just to get in. Anil Shah goes for the slog sweep, doesn't get it. Jesse Singh nestles underneath it and holds on. Big moment in the game. Anil Shah gets to 50 and gives it away. Credit to Kenjige, absolutely, but it's a tame dismissal. And just as Nepal trying to get moving, trying to go through the gears, they lose their third.
Well, you knew one of the two of them, Mala or Shah, were going to take on Kenjige. You just didn't think the matchup was for Shah to do it. He had to be the anchor. And he's just hit it straight up into the air, trying to play that sweep that was working so successfully off the bat of Kushal Bertel earlier in the innings. But again, he's just miscued it straight up. Jesse Singh's done really well to get into a good position, take the catch, much to the delight of the American fan right behind him, who's up straight away. So I got to 50, but just threw it away. 52 off 80, and that strike right now looks a bit worse because he wasn't able to cash in on all the work he was able to do. Again, he was 40 off 56. It took him 21 deliveries to score the next 10 runs, and then he threw it away 2 runs later.
Rohit Paudel to the crease, captain of Nepal. Well, he's the man with the highest score of this cycle for Nepal. That was the 96 in a losing effort against USA. That was in the first innings. Going to be very different in the chase, but he may well need see the America fans, the flags flying high now. Very different to score 90 like that in a chase. If he does, if he's there with 90 not out in the last over, you'd think it would be in a winning effort. And he's a fine player, maybe Nepal's best player. Now, this is probably the most packed part of the crowd. And there's a few
Shot right in front of the players' tunnel as well.
What's in there? The big gulps.
They stopped off by the gas station.
Your soda of choice?
I don't drink soda, Lenny.
What?
I don't drink soda. So it's actually a funny story. I was 7 years old when someone told me caffeine stunts growth.
Say that once more?
I was 7 years old. Someone told me caffeine stunts growth, and I decided.
What height are you?
I'm now, what, 6'1", so it's worked a little bit.
You taller than me? I don't think you are. Are you?
I don't
Very
think
similar.
Very similar.
I'm 6'1.5", so
I think somewhere there.
You're in the mix. Well, it hasn't stunted your growth. Jesse Singh to continue. Nepal in trouble again. They're going to need something special from their middle order. Specifically these two, and maybe then Jan, Dipendra Singh Ari to come in. Remember Arif Sheikh, of course, the player of the match from the last game. He's still two to come. So whoever told you that is really, well, he's saved your dentist a lot of money.
Yeah, hasn't he? Yeah, I got rid of the caffeine and the sugar, so it's worked out. It's worked out quite nice. It doesn't take a bit of guessing though to pick your favorite soda out of the bunch. I think there's one in the fridge next door, isn't there?
Oh, it's got my name on it. And it's one of the title ICC sponsors, so I can say it, Coca-Cola. Definitely one of my vices in life. We all have some. I do adore a Coke. And certainly, the more I get to know about you, I mean, I know I've known you a long time, you are so clean. You must have some shortcomings or some shortfalls.
I'm sure
you're
there
too
is.
perfect.
I'm sure if you ask my parents, there's something in there as well.
you must never tidy your room, or you must never do the
To
dishes.
be fair, my room is a little bit of a mess. That is fair. That is fair.
Well, my mother, I know I shared this with you, I didn't share it on air, but my mother wants to adopt you from listening in. She's been watching on back home. Parents always watch all the coverage back in Ireland, particularly the Nepal games. Adopted another 2 Nepal fans. A little bit like she is Floyd, we saw her earlier. There is the new USA Cricket CEO, that's Mr. Jonathan Atkinson there, Atkinson on the left. Not sure who he's with. He'll have been probably a little bit nervous having lost the toss this morning. I think he flew in early today, and probably pretty pleased with his team's efforts at the moment. There he is, just seeing himself on the big screen. A big good afternoon to you, sir. Wishing you every success in your new role. As USA Cricket look to capitalise upon the success of that World Cup. Both national teams, well, really up until this tour, were going really well, weren't they? Women's team, historic wins down in Zimbabwe. I know that filled the community with great joy, the first ever time they've beaten full member nation. The historic series win over Bangladesh for the men, 4-0 over Canada, the Super 8 run in the World Cup, all the brilliance of that Namibia tour. It just feels as though it's, obviously Stuart Law's been dismissed in this time. He's moved on now. In the middle of the series, the 3-0 defeat in the T20s, and then just the 1 win in the ODIs. It feels like for all of those reasons, this game's it's as important for USA as it is for Nepal.
It's a momentum thing. You don't want to head into 2025 having all those kind of negatives around the sweep in the T20 series, and then only pick up 1 win
on home soil.
That's going to be the part that's really going to stick home. So a second win on home soil just gives you that little bit of momentum that you breathe a little bit, saying, okay, things are all right. It's not great, but we can build into the right steps.
And then I suppose from I know he's only interim head coach for the moment.
Vincent Vinay Kumar.
Yeah, Vincent Vinay Kumar, the former Ranji Trophy player from India. And then we see the assistant coach come in, Usman Rafiq, who was playing down in Zimbabwe at the Cricket World Cup qualifiers recently as last year, was actually in the squad against Canada, I think, earlier in the year too. But they'll be able to make the case. Well, hold on. We've lost 2. We didn't want to lose 2 at home. But both those defeats were to Scotland, who are the best sides in the associate world without doubt. As Jesse Singh bowls a really good over, just 1 run from it, but he's still not moving. But the USA support staff, even the CEO, will be able to say, well, look, we're top of the table in ICC Men's Cricket World Cup League 2. They would be top of the table on points difference, as that there shows the challenge for Nepal with the runworm. We've got to a Super 8 this year. Our women are doing great things down in Zimbabwe. There's a lot to still be positive about in the American cricket landscape, particularly with the success of the second season of Major League Cricket, allied to all of that, and minor league cricket continuing to go from strength to strength too.
Yeah, you're seeing just the development of cricket in the U.S., not just in the men's game, but in the women's game. Chetna Reddy Pagayala, a 16-year-old on debut opening in ODI cricket against Zimbabwe, scores 136. So you're seeing these things start to happen more and more with Gurshivasva, another one of those stories, Sanjay Krishnamurti, things moving in the right direction. And a win here would go a long way to stamp home what's been a very good year for USA cricket as a whole. Right? You mentioned the Super 8s. Major League Cricket was a success. Minor League Cricket's still doing its role in building up domestic talent. So the win here is very important to stamp home a very good year in United States cricket.
Yeah, and at the same time for Nepal, it's a massive game
Yep.
in terms of not wanting to be possibly staring down going to the end of 2024 with just 2 wins from 12. I know they've got Monday to come, but if that's rained out, well, you don't get a chance to pick up another win over Scotland, do you? Great diving stop from Kenjigate. He's one of USA's best fielders. They're scrapping hard here. We didn't even mention the Under-19 World Cup, did we?
Yeah.
I know that was in January. It feels like a lifetime ago. That's how much cricket there is. As Singh gets a bit more treatment. That was the first men's Under-19 World Cup in 14 years, and the women were at the inaugural Under-19 Women's World Cup last year, and I think they're going back again in January. So, yeah, there is so much potential. There always has been in America. As always, it's a case of, I suppose, harnessing that potential. Something's got to give here. 4 dots to Mala. Kenjigate is bowling so cleverly, keeping it out of his hitting arc. There's either a wicket or a boundary coming from one of these 2 balls, you suspect. It'll be a single.
I reckon Mala's got to use his feet and just create a little bit of width for himself, a little bit of time to play over backward point. The fielder's inside the ring on the offside for him, or backward point and third man is Peter Della Penna, snapping all the photos all on the ground. What a stalwart he's been, and there's some more USA Cricket fans. That man in the gray was pumped up off the catch that Jesse Singh took, so lighting up the American faithful that are still in the audience.
Little USA corner down there. 3 America fans amongst a sea of Nepal ones. That's why the crowd is so quiet right now, because nothing's going right for Nepal. Powdell gives himself some room. There is some turn on offer. He's yet to get off the mark. 29 bowled, 108 for 3. This task gets ever taller. The required run rate continues to escalate. Just confirmation for that stat I thought we were about to hit in the first innings. For Nepal in ODI cricket goes past the 2 for 85 that Sampal Kami took against Pakistan. First time they'd ever played them in an ODI in Multan. You do wonder, just press the wrong button there, hopefully we'll get the right scorecard up now. Just want to get a quick look at the Nepal batters to come. You do wonder what order these remaining batters are going to come in. Will it be Dipendra Singh Arya next, or will it be Arif Sheikh, who was the player of the match 4 days ago, or could it be Gulshan Jah promoted up the order, particularly if it's the left-hander that gets out? Dots building up, pressure building up, something has got to give.
And I reckon you have to take Jesse Singh on. I think at some point you can't just let Jesse Singh go here and bowl 3 quiet overs while he's not 100%. You can still see there's just shuffling that shoulder around, trying to loosen up his side. He's not running in full head of steam. He's not finishing through the crease like he was earlier in his spell. So you have to take him on. And I reckon Arif Sheikh is the man, really regardless of the situation in which a batter gets out. Just because he's been in such good nick, very positive, and he's able to score at least the singles and doubles rather quickly, and he used his feet quite nicely to every bowler when he won that Player of the Match award. So for me, I think Arif Sheikh would be the man I'd send in if a wicket were to fall. For Kushal Malla, though, you've been in the crease, 35 deliveries. Jesse Singh's the man you have to attack. You can't let him go quietly.
Particularly with that side strain he has. Get after him. Too many dots. The angle causing problems for Malla. Big shout out to Phil Melky, who's watching on. As always, one of the USA super fans. When I described Texas as big sky country, I didn't mean literally. I know that that's the official motto of the US state of Montana, and I know you're only pulling my leg. The thing I didn't know is that the official state motto of Texas is friendship.
It is friendship, yeah. That is something we learned in AP US history class.
Didn't know that. Quite like that.
Quite simple.
It would describe the state pretty well from all the interactions I've had since I've been here.
Been very friendly everywhere we go.
Everywhere. Very, no matter which side of the ever-growing political divide, as we sit on the precipice of, well, maybe the most important American election in the history of the country in, what is it, 4 days time on Tuesday. But yeah, wherever you sit, red or blue, I think Joe Biden has been using it the most, but whoever said it first, there are no red states, there are no blue states, we are the United States of America. That's certainly very apt here with all the hospitality and friendliness we have been shown. So friendship is the motto of the state of Texas. And there's great friendship between these two sides, but there's also great will to win. Nepal in big trouble. And they're going to take on a single that would have seen Kushal Malla run out by a mile. It was panic really, wasn't it? The pressure had been built up by the dots. Patel did the fielding. He did it well with one hand, but the throw was well wide of the 1.5 stumps he had time at.
And Kushal Malla had to look back at Rohit Paudel, but Rohit did the right thing. He was telling him no, and Kushal Malla was just adamant straight away. And even if he was to go full head of steam, he was never making it over there. Manu Patel misses out, and it's just pressure building up onto Kushal Malla. It's getting into his head. He's looking to find runs, and he's not able to play his normal, natural, free-flowing game.
And they've bowled well to him. They've taken it out of his hitting arc. He hits full deliveries and he murders them, but he isn't able right now to find a way against anything back of a length or on a good length. And it's piling the pressure onto Rohit Paudel, who's yet to get off the mark as well. Credit to Jesse Singh. Remember, he was flayed around the ground for a really expensive spell.
Gone in either front.
Paudel will get off the mark with a very well judged single. But there's so much work to be due still for Nepal. 30 bowled, 110 for 3. Jesse Singh continues to look in agony. You can look at some of the wickets we've seen. This was the first one. Jesse Singh just finding a way through Asif Sheikh's stroke and a big celebration. And Harmeet Singh also castling the stumps before the third dismissal, which we don't have here, which was Anil Saz, which was a very tame one. Nepal are right up against it here. They're just finding no fluency at all.
Yeah, and again, at some point, you have to look to score runs. The required run rate is just getting out of hand. It's up towards 9 now, and you're only striking at under 4, and you've allowed Jesse Singh to really get away from you. I look at the couple overs bowled for Utkarsh Srivastava, 3 for 8 for a 17-year-old who's bowling for the first time in international cricket. You've allowed him to just, the off-spinner, to come in and just go about his work. Yes, he was very consistent, but you couldn't let him just give up 8 runs in 3 overs. Jesse Singh, since he's come back, has been very inexpensive. You haven't taken the attack to any bowler in particular. We thought it was going to be Kenjige, and that's gone as well.
Big appeal and given. And Kenjige gets the big wicket. It's that of Rohit Paudel. Paudel took a long time to get off the mark. He couldn't get strike. And now...
Don't score against the bowlers you're supposed to score against, then you're forced to score against the best bowlers. This is Kushal Malla struggling to get off Jesse Singh, and that's built the pressure that's caused that moment where you saw Nash Kenjige get Rohit Paudel. Paudel, he's looking to just try to invent some sort of stroke. He's on 1 run, he's played 8 deliveries, and he's just missed it through and through. It's probably hit right on off stump and sliding on to middle. It's a very good decision on first glance, and Nash Kenjige, he takes the reward of that pressure.
Russell Warren really is given nothing unless he's been absolutely certain. And the finger went up quickly too. We'll get another look at it here. Probably actually hit the back shoulder as much as anything, isn't it? But the question's going to be on height here, isn't it? It's impacted in line, certainly. I know he's a long way down, but it's a strange one. You can be, if you're wondering about the law, you can be leg before wicket off any part of your body, barring the gloves and the wristband of those gloves, and the bat, of course. So the glove is the only part of your body you can't be LBW off. You could even, in theory, be hitting the helmet in front of the stumps if you ducked into a slower ball or something. Arif Sheikh, it's going to be in at number 6, the Iceman. Oh, he's got an awful lot on his plate this time. He played so positively the other day. He gets off the mark immediately. The finger went up straight away, didn't it? And I think we'll see it again after this delivery. I agree with you in terms of the line. The question will just have been on the bounce. Now, we don't have a side on camera, so that's not going to necessarily be able to be demonstrated very well, but it has probably hit him up on the kind of back shoulder, has it? Going up. We'll get another look now, as Mala does get a single down the ground. He's not tall either. That's the other thing you have to remember, Rod Powell. What's this hit? Let's get a look. It's the shoulder. So the question is that bouncing enough to go over the top? I think it's definitely going to be okay on line. The finger went up very quickly.
I think the big thing is he was reaching all the way down. You could see over half the stump on the way up. I reckon it's probably going enough just to hit the top of, probably off in middle stump, I reckon.
Shoulder before wicket.
First rare time for everything there.
I don't think I've seen one of those before. Watch so much cricket though, I may have missed one. SBW.
SBW. Write that in there. Scores wherever you are. Write it in there. SBW.
That's the arm ball down the leg side, tickled away for a single. But yeah, just in case you're wondering, particularly if you're a Nepal fan, well, hold on, that can't be out. It didn't hit his leg. It doesn't have to hit the leg. You could be LBW off your forearm, for example. I've seen that happen before. So the naming of the leg before wicket is a little bit anodyne or inaccurate, if you will. It's kind of body before wicket, any part of the body that's not the bat or the gloves. So it's a wicket from the over and 4 runs. USA, they are tightening their grasp on this game, and they are very much looking good to close out what would be a series-ending win for them. As we get to the end of the 31st, it's 114 for 4. It's going to be Utkarsh Shrivastava who'll return to the attack.
And again, you have to take advantage of Utkarsh Shrivastava here. He's bowled very well, and he's done the basics right. He's done the Kushamala rule, really. Go hit one spot, and just hit that spot, and let the batters do what they may. If you're Kushamala, you're in for 40 deliveries. Yes, it is the ball that's going to spin away from you, but you have to find a way to score against it. Whether that's using your feet to get to the pitch of the ball, or moving across your stumps to access fine leg. Whatever you have to do, you have to. Because this required run rate is starting to really climb.
It's very quickly going to become 10 and over if they don't change something soon. Barely played a shot in anger, is he, Mala? Can't think of a single risk that he's taken apart from that cut shot for 4. As far as I can remember, that was his only boundary as well. This is a guy who strikes at over 90 in ODI cricket career-wise. At one point, probably less than a year ago, he was striking at about 170 in T20 cricket. But that's how the game works now. You get assessed, you get analysed almost to death by the opposition, so they see where your strengths are. Reverse sweep comes out straight to the man. So if they know your strengths and the opposition refuse to bowl to them, then you've got to evolve your game and find other ways to score. So you think of how good he is to full deliveries. Mala needs to find a way to score not from really short ones but from length deliveries, whether it's to give himself some room, whether it's to target another part of the ground. But there hasn't even really been any shots in anger from him. Now that's a shot of authority all the way for 6. Much more like it. And it's Arif Sheikh, whose career strike rate's the polar opposite, in the high 50s, early 60s, who's saying, we've got to start getting moving here. I'm full of confidence, and I'll get off to my first boundary, the maximum.
And again, it's good intent. Use of the feet. It's what he did against Scotland to get player of the match.
He's the first batter we've seen to use his feet to the spinners. And there is zero risk to the shot because it's an off spinner. He's not really turning it much. Bowling the ball into you, or there's zero risk in terms of using your feet. Of course, he's got to get enough elevation if you're going to take the aerial route over mid-wicket. He's probably actually trying to go a bit straighter. He's dragged it a bit, but he still has enough muscle to get it over the rope. Defensive shot from Mala. Do you not think Mala should go at him here? Say, I'll go out inside out over extra. I'll make it 2 boundaries in the over. Get rid of Shrivastava from the attack. Dead ball will be signalled. Mala not ready. There might have been a word from Jahangir. He apologises.
Yeah, Gushamala's got to pick it up here. Again, whether that's to go over cow corner, where there's a long on, if you can get it away from him, you got 4. But even that's full. That's full enough for him to be able to slog sweep. He plays that shot so beautifully. You go over extra cover, but he's just instead played 1. Yes, you get 9 because of the shake 6, but you could have had way.
32 bowled. It's very nearly the perfect score for a cricket commentator. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Just missing the 5th wicket. It's one we always look out for the commentary box here, so you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as you're calling the over. Nosh Kenjigay will continue. He's into his 8th. Well, you do wonder when Mala is going to start going at Kenjigay. It's been a very subdued innings. Every shot is a check down shot, isn't it? Not one of any aggression or intent. Unless Mala's saying, I know we can get 10 and over off the last 15 or the last 14. Yeah, we're perplexed. They're behind by 44 on Duckworth Lewis Stern. They're looking in all sorts of trouble, but Arif Sheikh might just be the man to start to get things moving. He's going at everything. You can see it's very different. I know he's only been in there 7 balls.
Yeah, and again, it's about the intent that you're seeing on display. Sheikh is trying to push 4 runs. While we've seen from Gushamala, he's willing to just let the game go by.
Oh, that's a great shot. He's not going to get 4, but it could be. It's a mix-up. It's a real mix-up. Mala's going to have to go back here. And he does get back. Oh, dear. Well, that kind of shows the headspace that Kushal Mala's in. Complete miscommunication. Arif Sheikh was a bit slow to turn. There probably was 2 if they both went immediately. They almost ended up at the same end.
There's probably 2 on offer if you're off quick, because of the fact that Mukamala had to move well out to his left. You see that par score there, 169. They're well below that. Gushamala on strike now. The keys are, again, what is your intent to score? You can score 10 and over from the last show. We've seen Scotland do it, but it was a different surface. The surface is now 3 innings older. I don't know. I don't think it's going to hold up in that same facet where the slower balls are going to come on to the bat nicely.
Finally, a bit of aggression from Mala. It's a dot, but at least he's trying to give it his all, and it's taken 45 balls for some real intent from Mala. Yeah, I agree that the surface is going to die in the last period of this game. Fans are just trying to rouse Nepal, aren't they? Giving them a big cheer. Put down. It's almost as though Kenjigay didn't see it. Mala, 2 balls in a row, has played an aggressive stroke. Arif Sheikh comes down for a word. May well have been hit with power. Might have even drawn a little bit of blood out of Kenjigay. This is going to be a great angle.
Yeah, Kenjigay didn't see it at all, and it's come off the hand straight up onto what it looks like the jaw, the right jaw. of Kenjige. You could see his head straight away turn towards mid-wicket, and then at the very last instant saw it come. It's a big moment. Given a life on 23, looks like Kenjige is okay, which is important. But you give Gautamala a life, you could grow to regret it.
Well, you just wonder, is that going to maybe jolt Kushal Malla into something and play with a freedom, because he's got a freedom. Better looking a little.
Little battle scar.
Little battle scar. Oh, you got told that, didn't you, when you got hurt in a sport? Your mum would say to you, don't worry. I love that. You might have to go off here, actually, just to get that patched up. Russell Warren saying, can't have blood on the pitch here, you're going to have to go off. And that might take him out of the next over, which would almost sort of force a change. Waving to the physio. Is a subfielder going to come on? Because that would take Kenjige out of the attack, most likely. Looks like, will it be... Where's Yasser Mohammed? Or is he going to stay on? Because he wants to keep bowling. He's gone off, and on comes Yasser Mohammed to deep cover. Shadi Van Schalkwijk's only bowled 3 overs so far. They need to get him back into action. Well, I don't know where to go for Nepal from here. It's been a perplexing chase in so many ways.
Yeah, they haven't timed it well. Again, you can... built up, not taking advantage of bad deliveries, and now the run rate's way up on a surface that's dying out. Runs will be hard to come by in the last 10. You had to do work early.
Lovely fluent drive from Arif Sheikh, who has just come to the crease with intent. We haven't seen any intent from the non-striker's end. Mala's been given a life. Would you like him just to really throw caution to the wind and start to have a go at everything? There's still batters to come.
Have a go. He doesn't need to go and play rash shots. He doesn't need to force it, but play through covers. Go play over the top of point. If it's full, look to hit it down the ground. You've seen him almost just be content with tucking it away for one. That's not going to cut it now.
Going to run a quick single, throw well wide. Stumps, and all of a sudden, just from a couple of bits of intent, there's a bit of pressure back on USA. Just a 2 and a 1. Nothing that's really changing the game. USA still miles ahead of it, but getting the fans into it. Malla, you feel like someone needs to shake him and get him into action. Say, we know how good you are. Come on, it's time for you to show it.
Look at the fans there. Look at the little fan in attendance. He's not facing it right now. He's too nervous to watch. But that's what Arif Sheikh does. Again, he came in against the Scotland game, scored a half-century through intent, got the game back, and you could see just found a little bit of rhythm, put pressure back on Scotland. He seems to be doing something similar to the USA. Now can Malla capitalize? The fans are behind him. Arif Sheikh is behind him. He just has to get some runs behind him.
Okay, no timing, but he's trying to get there. I think Van Schalkwijk's going to be clever here, isn't he? He's going to mix up. That was an on-pace delivery, but he'll bowl plenty of cutters now. And what we saw in the last 10, if you take away that final over where it was Harmeet Singh that gave that real boost to USA, between the 40th and the 49th, they only put on 64. So it's not easy in the last 10 because the wicket is wearing. Might think of 2 here. They should get it pretty easily. Perfectly weighted. So if you try to work backwards here, Aman, and you say we're going to struggle to get 100 off the last 10, well, they've got to go now, don't they?
You have to. If you're going to struggle to get 100 off the last 10, you need 154. You get a touch under 154 now, but you have a long ways to go in this chase, and it's only going to get tougher because Nether Volker is going to come in and bowl cutters. Same with Van Schalkwyk.
Finally, it's the free flow of the arms that Nepal fans know and love. It's vintage Kushal Malla, I don't want to say back to his best because he hasn't even shown a semblance of that in this innings. He's been given a life. Could the USA come to rue it? It's a good piece of clever targeted cricket. Mid-off up in the circle, over his head, 6 all the way.
This is the width he's been given. Van Skalkvik looks to go pace off, but with that width, on that length, Guatemala has the license and the freedom to free the hands. That's brilliant batting for Mala. Has to do more of that.
Now he's going to get 2 more, and all of a sudden, they've got a big over. And listen to the noise around this place. You'd think it's close to capacity. We've only got 700 or 800 in, and they're loving every second. The chase is on as we get to the second drinks break. And we'll have a break here too in the commentary box. Be able to predict where it goes either. Don't go anywhere too far. It's 138 for 4.
Well, what a game we have on our hands here. Thank you guys for sticking around and joining us in this ICC Men's Cricket World Cup League 2. This match between the USA and Nepal, and it's all to play for here in the last 16 overs. 144 required from the final 16. Nepal are starting to come to life. They're starting to show that little bit of signs with Guatemala finding a 6. Arif Sheikh has come in and played with great positive intent. USA are right now for the first time in a while scrambling for options. Saurabh Netravalkar to come back in for his 6th over. That one's hit away. Fielder has work to do. It's Sanjay Krishnamurthy out in the deep. He'll get back for 2 quite comfortably in the end. Good running. This is a big moment in the game for the USA. They bring back the strike bowler in Netravalkar. And I think what Monik Patel has just gone over to say to Saurabh is you don't really need to go full outside the off stump towards the wide line. I think what's the better option is to play on the length. You can see the running here for Asif Sheikh. He wanted 2 straight away. I think that the Valker's better off on a length, bowling the cutters, slowing it down. Picked up, pulled away, and that's the biggest of the day. Where has this come from? Asif Sheikh, he hit a 50 in the match against Scotland, and he's picked up where he's left off. That's brilliant. And I don't think there's much wrong there from Nether Valker. The Nepal fans love it. It's a cutter on a length. And Asif Sheikh has just sat in his crease, picked it up, and dispatched it for 6.
Well, what is this we're witnessing? Asif Sheikh 2.0, is it? Never really had the notoriety or ability to clear the ropes with real ease. He's been known as an accumulator, a guy who's very good in clutch, difficult situations. But all of a sudden, this game has just changed again. What a shot. Almighty strike from Asif Sheikh. And he's gone. Fuller, and a great catch by Nosh Kenjige at backward point. It flew to him, it went so quickly. 6 and out for Asif Sheikh. His little cameo comes to an end.
You can't fault the intent, but how many times has Nosh Kenjige done this for the USA? Pulled together a pretty fantastic catch. Again, clever piece of bowling. He went slower, wider, and that was just flashed away. But Kenjige's gone upstairs. It's almost looked like what Garrett Wilson did on Thursday Night Football for the New York Jets. Again, it's always rising on him. He's done quite well to get upstairs. Very quick delivery, and look how much it means to him. You can see the big celebration come out. The USA knew this was the danger man. And 6 and out. Have Nepal let this game slip away yet again. 21 off 13, a nice little cameo. But now, have to find runs from somewhere else to Nepal.
Yeah, Asif Sheikh. Very short, but very sweet, wasn't it? 21 off 13. Here comes Dipender Singh Airi. Well, we were totally bemused by his lack of use with the ball. On a wearing wicket, with 2 left-handers at the crease, he somehow only bowled 1 over in the whole innings. He'll come in, number 45 on his back. He'll need at least that many runs to give Nepal any chance here. Man, we've spoken a few times about the memes that go in and around the huge fanaticism that attracts this Nepal national team. Got the great nickname, the Cardiac Kids, which I think sums them up beautifully. And that meme with the graph of the "we are back" or "we are so back" at the very peaks of it to "we are gone" or "what's going on."
It's never been more over.
Never been more over at the bottom. Where are they on that graph? It seems to have been pulsating up and down again through this entire contest.
Well, really, through the last 2 balls in the wicket in the 6th, there's never been more back, and now we're so gone. It's never been more over.
It is a roller coaster of emotions, isn't it? As again it goes to the backward point fielder. Kenjige does well. Good change of bowling from Manik Patel, getting Nether Valker back in. Former captain. As we so often see, a wicket just stems the runs. 3 dots, 15 remain, 146 for 5. Nepal are only just past the half. A little cameo from Gulshan Jah to come. It's 146 for 5. And if you just look at the run worm here, it's starting to trend in the right direction, but they've got so much work to do still, Nepal.
Yeah, they do. Again, you just see that late flurry up towards that USA dark blue line, but the big problem is the wickets that have fallen. USA lost wickets towards the tail end. They held wickets together in hand, similar to what Scotland did just 48 hours ago. Nepal have lost wickets in consistent intervals leading into the last 15. So now you have to score. A lot of it will rest on Koshamala, but Not only do you have to score, you have to find a way to keep your wickets in hand.
Really, the only bowler who's been costly has been Shadi van Schalkwijk, who's in the attack here. Kushal Malla can't afford another lull, can he? He's really got to start going at it. He's been out there for, well, over 52 balls, but he's probably been out there for well over an hour.
And what he's going to get is back of a length or on a length deliveries. USA aren't going to pitch it up to him. So he's got to find a way to innovate himself into run scoring opportunities, whether that's to attack Van Schalkwijk with his feet or sit in the crease.
Great lengths again. All these dots are a byproduct of clever bowling in terms of plans from the American side, but also then clever execution. It wasn't as though Nepal didn't know where to bowl to USA, but just that they couldn't actually execute that, it seemed like, today.
Yeah, it's half and half, right? The planning's got to be right on, but if you don't execute the plan, your plans will never work, and that's what Nepal have experienced throughout the ODI leg of this tour. They just haven't been consistently able to execute.
Bit of width on offer, slashed straight to the man and taken. Sanjay Krishnamurthy holds on, maybe not the greatest delivery, but all Kushal Malla could do was pick out the man in the deep, and Nepal slide further. They've lost 2 and 2 overs. And well, that could be that for Nepal. USA likely to hold the wood over them yet again as Sanjay Krishnamurthy takes a very good catch.
And quick on his feet there, Krishnamurthy. Yeah, a bit of width from Van Schalkwijk, but the key thing was the length here. He kept the length back so Malla couldn't step onto the front foot and just hit through the line. He had to work on the back foot and try to power it through cover. Well, he has so much power, he just hasn't been able to manufacture it whilst on the back foot. And that time, all he could do was just slice it straight up, didn't get any middle on it. And Krishnamurthy's done well getting to the ball, getting underneath it, and keeping his hands underneath it. That's a big catch. Already given a life, Kushal Malla couldn't capitalize. And the USA, they see the finish line now.
Yeah, you'd probably go as far as to say, is this the last chance? Just the 1-4 and the 1-6 for Kushal Malla. He had that life dropped off his own bowling by Nosh Kenjige. He's gone for 33. Strange old innings, wasn't it? 2 new men at the crease, both on 0. Both very accomplished. The problem is, there's probably a bit like what we've seen in that Malla innings. This pitch is just starting to die, isn't it? It's the 6th innings on it. It's starting to fade away. USA have bowled cleverly on it. They've exploited the lack of pace. There's still 4 overs of Harmeet Singh to come as well. Manik Patel has cleverly kept those up his sleeve. And everything is going USA's way now. You think of the problems that USA had at the death against Scotland because of the 6th bowler being used, because of the way in which Manik Patel has rotated his bowlers today. He's not going to have those issues, so it's not even like there's a kind of weak Achilles heel to come here for the home side. And really, they just need to play, what, an hour of decent cricket here. This game will be all but over.
Every bowling option is overs left. Kenjige and Harmeet Singh, they've got 6 across them. You've got 5 for Van Schalkwijk after this. The overthrow won't cost them any runs. You still have 4 from Van Schalkwijk, 3 from Jesse Singh. So Manik Patel's actually managed his bowlers quite brilliantly today to give him every option, whether he wants to go spin, whether that's off spin or the away spin from the right-hander, or if he wants to go pace, if it's Jesse Singh's sheer side of pace, if he tells you enough to bowl, whether it's the left arm seam or whether it's the cutters of Van Schalkwijk. He's got every option in the book. And so for Nepal, they have to be able to identify which bowlers are we going to attack. He has everyone he can go to. We have to be able to pick up two of the lot that we're going to go and be able to find 10 runs and over off of.
Yeah, whatever happens from here as Van Schalkwijk completes a great over, just the 1 run from it, and the wicket, the big wicket of Kushal Malla, 147 for 6. Whatever happens from here for Nepal, I think natural. Gets it a fall, and Jesse Singh cleaning up Asif Sheikh. And then Kushal Patel looking for the sweep shot, not getting protecting line. Harmeet Singh pumped up. That was probably the one that was, well, was it the softest of them with the giveaway from Anil Shah?
Yeah, you have to reckon. And then Rohit Bado, just the pressure building between him and Kushamala, unable to find many runs. And this one, just as Arif Sheikh started to get going, Nash Kenjigay plucks that one out of the air, and then all that pressure building on Mala, just holes out, trying to take the next step, trying to take the next level.
Harmeet Singh returns to the attack. I'm not sure they're going to get too many runs off him. But yeah, the natural inclination of Nepal fans will be to look at the batting performance and say, oh, that's where things have gone wrong. But the reality is that they've lost this game in the first innings. Okay, they should have batted better, yes. But it's been a disciplined bowling performance on a wearing wicket. And Nepal historically haven't had huge success at chasing down large totals. They've chased down 287 twice in their history. Once was against Namibia. The other time was against Canada earlier in this year. The one against Canada was a bit easier with Rohit Paudel making an excellent 87. But apart from that, the other times they've been faced with big chases, they've tended to struggle. They did chase down 275 against Namibia too. It's on a very good surface at the TU International Cricket Ground in Kathmandu. But overall, they've only posted more than 275 times in second innings in their history. 2 of those have been for defeats. So once the total went past 250 on a wearing wicket, it was always going to be a tough chase. That's clipped away. Outfield's pretty quick. Netravalkar will have work to do. Does enough. They might think a 3 here. Look at how quick defender Singh is. He's walked the 3rd.
Compare that to Gustin Jha, who's all out sprinting, trying to get to the non-strikers end.
I think Ari might have quite fancied running 4 there.
I think Gustin Jha would have said, you can run 8 yourself, but I'm not moving off the 3rd.
It is hard for us to get across sometimes, because we're seeing the pictures you're seeing at home, and we keep an eye out the window then live. It's hard to, it's a bit like that catch he took. Again, you want to see all of it on your screens at home. But just the speed of everything he does, it's almost blinding. 37 bowled, 154 for 6. But I think in the post-mortem of this match, should Nepal come up short, it looks like they're going to. I don't think... Missed many internationals for Nepal over the last 6 years, and even the games I haven't commentated on, I've watched every ball of. I can't remember them bowling as poorly.
No, and again, it was in dream bowling conditions. That's the key thing. You're in dream bowling conditions. You win the toss, you choose to bowl. USA know they're going to be tough. You can see the way the openers came out to play, almost test match-esque. And then you just let them off the hook, sliding down the leg side, wide towards the off stump, short balls, just everything was sporadic. And you compare that to the USA, who've been so consistent. Now this is something that Nepal will always say, yeah, we've done a great job, and it's much to the disappointment of Monik Patel, who just had to flick the ball up because Dipender Singh Airi has made that a comfortable 2.
How has Airi got 2 there? they were wondering whether they get a single, because it's only just evaded the bowler, and he's been that quick that brilliant to watch, whatever happens, as always. Also, look, it's a big chance. It's a very tough chance for Airi, because he's going to put the team first and try and get these 126 at, well, the best part of 10 runs per over now that are required. It's a chance for him to improve upon that ODI batting number. Good length again. Only averaging 17, 18 in this format. I know he's got the power and the brilliance from the T20 game. This is something of a T20 scenario. Kind of got to get 10 and over right from the off. Now, to do it for 4 or 5 overs, which is kind of his role in the T20 team, is a lot easier than doing it for 13 overs plus. But if he could pull it off, maybe it might just silence a few of those messages we received about why he's in the ODI team.
Yeah, again, I think numbers are interesting, but they don't tell complete stories. Again, you'll sit there and look at the scorecard and say Sandeep Lamashane had one heck of a day. 2 wickets he took. You say he's very economical with just the 48 runs he gave up. But you watch the way he bowled and you say, could have been better, should have been better. Was rather inconsistent for his standards. Should have been really at 28 runs, cut that in half. So those numbers, they have a funny way of lying to you. If you don't get the context of what's happened within the game, those numbers are hard to trust.
Good Yorker. With the skills from Vanchkalkve. Length, now Yorker. And that's it. I suppose it just looks to me to have been a much better clarity and then execution of bowling plans for USA. Been a league apart. And often when you think of a Nepal performance or defeat, you'll often think of the batting failing. But I just don't think today is a day to talk about how the batters have come up short. It was very much the bowlers, and then even a couple of costly moments in the field. That Anil Saad drop towards the end was quite costly. 5 balls bowled, only 3 from the over, and they need 10.
Yeah, I get you have 2 new bats in the middle, but you've gotta start finding ways to just get one. I thought there's, again, it speaks to the discipline of USA. Absolutely, they've been very good about being on a length, but I just felt that Nepal didn't take advantage of every loose delivery that came about. You compare that again to the USA innings, Nepal didn't get away with anything. Everything that was short, everything that was down the leg side, everything that was wide outside the off stump was put away to the boundary. They made Nepal pay for every single loose delivery, versus even when the ball has been slightly too full, it's just been hit to the fielder.
A little bit of shape away as late as the 38th over. Nepal fans are desperate for something to cheer. They're not getting it. To say the least, it's 157 for 6.
And it's good bowling right outside the off stump on a length, a little bit of seam. And you mentioned the clarity in which the USA have come about this innings. I really do think about Maning Patel and what he said at the toss. He said, you saw him, he lost the toss, he had a smile on his face, that almost, that wry smile when he was walking away, knowing that he wanted to bowl first. But he had that conversation with you saying, look, this is going to be the 3rd consecutive game on it. The wicket's going to wear a little bit. We could take advantage of this in the 2nd innings. They saw it starting to break a little bit towards the back half of their first stage. They said, okay, we have an opportunity here. If we start out well, nice and tight, we can then go about just being on a length and letting the wicket assist us.
So Harmeet Singh to continue. He's got 3 left, including this one. You almost sense Nepal have, well, backed themselves into a corner here. They need snookers, to use an analogy from another sport. There's no sign of boundaries coming with any consistency. Required run rate spiraling. It'll be up to 2 runs per ball needed pretty quickly, you would suggest. This one's slashed away, but Netravalkar well positioned to keep it to just the quick single.
Yeah, you can just feel the game start to slip away, and this will just be a real heartbreaking loss for Nepal. Again, they were positioned in a way to absolutely take this game by storm. Again, the Qatar KC injury is unfortunate early on, but outside of that, there was just no consistency with the ball. And then with the bat in hand, you felt, okay, they're kind of in the game after that first session. You're 72 for 1. At the end of the 16th over, you feel like, okay, you're in the game. You've got an opportunity here. And then you just felt that they went into a shell after 2 or 3 wickets fell.
Great hand from Harmeet Singh. Fielded well too. Give great credit to USA. We thought there'd be another gulf, didn't we, in terms of maybe 15, 20, 30 runs between the 2 teams, but USA are matching Nepal, if anything, outfielding them right now. And another dot, 2 runs from the 39th with the ball to come. This game, well, it's drifting away ever so quickly.
You can see the Bender Singhari just having a word with Gulshan Jha. It might just be to get out of this over, but the heroics have to come soon. It was a really good move from Monik Patel. These 2 overs of Harmeet Singh are big.
Not the right line. Being honest, Gulshan Jha should have put this away, but doesn't get anything like enough of it and only pick up 2. It's 4 from the 39th. And 6-1 for 6. Yeah, we said that 100 might be tough to get off the last 10. Unless something remarkable happens in this over, it's going to be more than that Nepal will need in the 3rd and final power play. We still have players capable of clearing the ropes here at the crease. I don't know about Dipender Singhari's exploits, but that's been primarily in the shorter format in T20 cricket. And Gulshan Jha, fresh from a really good tour of Canada, where he was, well, the standout all-round player. But USA are just really impressing me, Aman, with their discipline and how they're doing those basics so right.
And it's coming off a game 48 hours ago where they didn't do those basics well at all. They really struggled to hit consistent lengths and consistent lines. They gave freebies away. And for the first time in a USA-Nepal game, I'm listening around, and on the effects mics, you can hear, I think it's a group of kids huddled there saying USA, USA. And it just shows you the shell-shocked nature of the Nepal faithful that have lined up here in Grand Prairie, that have been screaming all day. They're out of words for what's happening in the middle.
Nothing's really gone right for Nepal apart from winning the toss. You could argue even that hasn't seemed to help them somehow. Karen Casey injury after just 10 balls. That doesn't help, of course. But they never apply any pressure. And that's going to be bowled. Gulshan Jha looks for the big hit to cross the line of the delivery. The top of middle stump's a pretty good place to operate. Saurav Netravalkar has a second.
It's clever bowling, seeing that Gulshan Jha is coming to the off stump, looking to hit. So what does Netravalkar do? Throws one outside the off stump and then gets it just to cut in off the surface. So Gulshan Jha just plays all around the ball in the end. He's played the line that he outside the off stump, thinking he's going to be able to access it. Instead, it's just gone on with the arm. It's well bowled from Netravalkar. You can see the fist bump from Shahin Jahangir. They know this is most likely the final nail in the coffin. Just 12 runs for Gulshan Jha, no boundaries to his name. In Nepal, all our hopes walk off with him.
You sense for Nepal, and in some ways this defeat is going to hurt more than the first one against USA in this series. The first one they dominated large periods of that game. Today, just never been in the game, have they? Despite winning the toss, couldn't get early wickets. Kind of got a bonus early wicket from Gulshan Jha in that first power play that was a bit of a strange one. And they just consistently bowled not only a couple of bad balls every over, but never really applied even a semblance of pressure through any elongated period. It couldn't find an over of even a couple of balls in a row building up pressure. So many loose deliveries. Very unlike them. They're usually pretty disciplined as a bowling attack. Sampal Kami comes into the crease at number 9. Yeah, I think a lot are going to look at the batting today and say, well, why haven't we shown more intent? As Nosh Kenjige has just dropped a much easier chance than the one that he held off Arif Sheikh. Kami is alive, should have been gone for a second ball duck, and they'll get an overthrow as well.
Don't see this too often, and for Kenjige, he's dropped 2 in the field. Just came onto him very quickly, and he couldn't quite believe it. You saw him take a look at the hands, then look up at Sarvan Tavalkar, and then for the ball. He's so exceptional, the backward point, puts his hands up, so that's on me. And it doesn't feel like it's going to cost any amount of runs, but shocked to see this out of that man, Nosh Kenjige. But yeah, you mentioned that. Most will look to the bats, but it's been about the ball. The other thing about this loss that separates the first loss against the USA won the toss, elected to bowl first on what are better bowling conditions, were able to use that to their advantage. They were in the game. 40th over comes to a close, 165 for 7. Today, you win the toss, you get all the conditions to go your way, and even then, not only did you not win the game, you were never in the game. It felt like as soon as Carter and KC had to go off, the USA were ahead the game and never let up.
Yeah, I don't think you can take Karen Casey's injury and say, oh, well, that's why we've lost the game today. Yes, he's probably been the pick of the bowlers throughout all of the Tour of Canada and USA. Across the 12 games, it feels like he's, 15 games if you include Monday's match between the... I'm going to get my maths right. It is 15, isn't it? 4 ODIs, 4 T20s in Canada.
There you go, there's 8.
Okay, 4 ODIs in due course. Yeah, it is 50. Okay, well, we're back.
We're so back. We are so back.
But it just feels like he's taking wickets every time he's bowled. I know he hasn't. He's had a couple of wicketless holes in there, but 2 or 3 for every time. Usually pretty economically. Poor old Dipender Singh Ari can't seem to get on to strike right now either. But you can't just say, oh, well, no Karen KC today. This is edged away. Might have enough pace to challenge the rope. Ari's going to be thinking about 3, but he'll get 4. Will Sampal Kami. Give a bit of credit to the shot. He's opened the face late on that. 4 to the total.
Showing some fight. That's all you can do here for Nepal. Don't want to just go belly up and roll over. Instead, they're just chipping away. They're not going to get to this total unless there's a miraculous innings here from Sampal Kami, which then would make that drop that Kenjige had ever so more important. But you can just see that little bit of effort, that little bit of just showing, hey, we have some fight left in us. I think that'll do the Nepal faithful well.
Been a bit too much of that for me as well. I'm not criticising Sampal Kami here because he's really in the team for his bowling, of course. He's a capable batter, but there's been a bit too much dead bat. So the best result out of that's a dot ball. Even when Harmeet Singh bowls a good one, at least try and do that, because Irie's so quick he'll get back for the overthrow as well. At least try and find one. The dot ball counter has been through the roof as we see a lovely glow around the ground now because a bit of sun is just greeting us from the distance, and God, paints the most beautiful picture all of a sudden.
On what was a colourless day, now it's all bright and vibrant out there in the middle.
Tell me the Arlington thing again. What did they say about the Texas Cowboys Stadium?
Well, there's a little retractable roof. And when the roof is open and the sun is straight up, there's a nice big rectangle that goes on from about the 40-yard line to each 40-yard line. Nice rectangle. And it says, if God watches football, he watches the Cowboys through the roof there. He's shining down on Cowboy football.
Well, maybe the light is proving Russell Warren's leg by signal impossible to see right now. That's the 4th time he signalled it. Well, maybe God shining the sun down through the heavens as a little farewell to this series, because I'm not sure about Monday. Forecast looks really, really poor, doesn't it? Well, the forecast for today wasn't great either. We're going to get a full game in. Netravalkar worked away for a single. Cammy gets to double figures. Finally, Depender Singh gets back onto strike. Hasn't faced for 3 overs. Dave Agnew, one of his assistant curators. I think he'll be pretty pleased on the whole with today's pitch. But a special shout out of thanks to not just Dave Agnew and the Major League team here on the ground, but also the whole USA cricket team hosting these series, particularly for USA, who, well, up until this year hadn't hosted a huge amount of international cricket in quite a while. It always takes a big effort, and everyone here at the venue, so that's all the Major League team, Justin and Josh, Zubin, Mervyn, all of the curation team under Dave Agnew, the head groundsman, and then for Druv and all the USA cricket team, we saw the new CEO Jonathan Atkinson as well here. Just a big thanks, because everything, certainly from our end, has been exceptional. The welcomes we've had each morning, the infrastructure, it's just world class. The big screen, the floodlights, the PMOA area for the players and match officials, the sports bar and grill for the fans, the concession stands. And so yeah, sincere thanks to everyone for helping put this series. I'm saying that now just in case Monday. Looks almost kind of torrential, doesn't it, on Monday? Might be wrong. Maybe we'll have a good game between Nepal and Scotland. But yeah, sincere thanks from me, from you, Aman, and from Umair and all our production crew for making this series such a success.
Yeah, it's been brilliant to be here, and every day they're hard at work, whether there's a game or it's an off day. They're always looking for opportunities to improve and do great work. And for Dave and his team, they haven't been able to really prepare that 3rd wicket that they wanted to. It's been a long haul with the end of minor league, into the T20s, now into the ODIs. It's first ever ODIs played at this venue, so it's been a lot of work to get it done. So it's just a big hearty thank you from everybody here and our production crew to everybody who's made this whole thing possible. And again, big thank you to everyone who's come out and enjoyed the cricket. I mean, it's been quite brilliant. It's a long day if you do come out to watch some ODI cricket, but they've enjoyed festivities, and they've added some life that's desperately needed at some of these sporting events.
Forgot about David White, of course, as well, from the Major League Cricket team. Vishnu, and indeed in terms of the in-venue team, Hassan here too. With the PA, some questionable music choices from him at points, but
well, after
he's
day
come
one,
around.
After day one, he listened
around,
to you. He got his way over there.
Wasn't sure where we were going. This game just drifted along, sadly, to an inevitable conclusion for Nepal fans. Manik Patel knows his side have done enough, just need to hold their nerve. It's 104 to win off 48. Boundaries just not coming. 42 bowled, 178 for 7. For Nepal, take a look at this points table. Even though they beat Scotland a couple of days ago, or 4 days ago now, there's not a lot to cheer, is there, in ODI cricket right now for them?
No, and again, this is coming off a clean sweep of the USA in T20s. They were in red-hot form. They had found rhythm at this venue. And right now, they're going to be firmly planted in the bottom two, especially with the other matches of Cricket World Cup League 2 happening over in Oman. They're going to be firmly planted in 2nd place.
That's much more like it. Finally, they get one into the hitting arc, and Dipendra Singh Airi cashes in. And a fan has a moment to remember as our camera soars to the heavens, much like the angle of that shot from Dipendra Singh Airi. Don't rule it out if he can get going. Remember, he's hit 36 in just 1 over before, and that was earlier this year, albeit in a T20. Great shot for 6.
Yeah, great shot indeed. Again, finally got one in the zone. The key is they took advantage of the full delivery in the slot. There's been times where the ball's, okay, maybe not quite there in the slot, but just a little bit outside that they could have manufactured, and they just didn't. This is a sign of intent. Dipendra Singh Airi, again, will take a superhuman effort, but he is superhuman.
Yeah, you think as Singh drags his length back, Airi wants a second. I don't remember seeing a second run to the 30 to the 30-yard circle with a fielder in it, but Airi has a think about it. You think of the entire, what have we seen, over 20 overs of spin, haven't we, because of the overs of the youngster, the 17-year-old. We've seen batters use their feet, what, once? There's now Kami goes over the offside. Another one that was pitched up, as Airi will easily get back for the second. But it's just been, across the innings, a lack of intent. Mala never left his crease once, never showed us that incredible power and strength that he has down the ground. And I think some of that's to do with the wicket being a bit tired and a bit difficult. But you'd almost, I think of the way Ireland play their cricket now, they'd rather be bowled out for 150 in this chase in 38 overs than bat the 50 overs and end up with 225, 230, and it's looking a bit like Nepal are going to do the latter. Too many dots, too many dead bat strokes, and now Airi will capitalise upon the misfield from Jesse Singh to get a few ironic cheers from the crowd to pick up 2. Nepal cricket, when it's at its best, it's putting pressure on the opposition. They've never really done that today.
Yeah, there was just that lack of intent, and I think to your point, if you're playing, one of those World Cups, and run rate might matter to advance, that's one thing. But you're here needing points. Run rate's not going to do Nepal any good in this league. Do more of this, whether it's errant or not. It's finding a little bit of pressure onto the stage. You can see Harmeet Singh having to push it out wider, pull it back for the first time, instead of where Nash Kunjage was going to bowl short, quick into Koshamala as the 43rd over comes to an end. 191 for 7. As Harmeet Singh's innings will come to an end. His day comes to an end. It's been brilliant. 10 overs, 1 maiden, 46 runs, just the 1 wicket. You want more than that, but he really put a stem on the flow of runs.
But on a wearing surface, you think of Harmeet Singh probably being by far the biggest threat in this attack. For Nepal to get 1 for 46 from the 10 off him, I know the runs have kind of come late in his final 3 overs off him. But Jesse Singh, and great credit to Jesse Singh, he's a warrior, he's fought back so hard. But for him to go best part of 9 and over in the last game against Scotland, he's only gone at 3 and over today. For Kenjige to only go at 4 and over, for them to allow 4 overs of Utkarsh Shrivastava for just 17, that for me, well, it's some poor game management, isn't it? And we spoke about the game management in a different sense in the first clash between these sides, where there was probably 2 or 3 times that Nepal had their foot on the throat of the opposition and never put the game away. Never really got into the game today. Here's Jesse Singh. He's got 3 left. Airi needs to find something rather ludicrous. A friend of mine just recently described him as a human highlight reel. Can he produce another highlight?
And Nepal fans will need it. And to your point about lack of intent, lack of getting at it, Utkarsh Shrivastava wasn't dragging it back, wasn't overly short, was just kind of in a similar area. And Kushal Patel never used his feet, or Kushamala rather, never used his feet to go at him. Again, I know he's spinning it away, but never used his feet to go at him. If he is able to find a couple boundaries, the task could be done by Dipendra Singh Airi. Now it's almost an impossible task he's faced with.
This is going to be close. Wait for the signal here from Jermaine Lindo. Must have been bat involved. If not, that would have been interesting. Maybe an inside edge for Airi will keep his wicket intact.
Yeah, this sounded like 2 noises, but you have to give a lot of credit to Jesse Singh. This could have easily been a game where he could have gone all over the place, and he's been right here, consistently outside the off stump, angled in. That looked awfully close. I thought there was bat involved. Didn't look like there was anything on that replay. It was given as runs.
Strange, because it wasn't a big appeal either.
No.
From our vantage point. Well, that looks very, very close. Irie, a bit fortunate maybe. Might have been given a free run as well, because we didn't see that come off the bat. But he'll take it. Another single. Yeah, great credit to the character Jesse Singh to be able to bounce back. I think some USA fans would have expected Janoy Drysdale to come in for him in the starting 11, but instead they stuck with Jesse Singh, and he's answered the call in a big way.
Yeah, he has. Again, it's not only that the figures are the figures, but it's the consistency in which he's bowling. Right on the off stump, angled in, and then fighting through injury to do it as well, especially coming off that match he had against Scotland.
Great piece of field. Great piece of fielding in the crowd. That'll be four. Always loved that, hasn't he? Can he get them going? One bounce and straight into his hands. Super bit of work. Irie gets into the 20s. Could have been given out from the last ball he faced. You just never know.
And this is where the lack of runs earlier in the innings comes to bite you. You have the bats in the back end to give you an explosive finish, even on a tired surface. You just have to give yourself a chance. And you look about, that's great work in the field, but you look at way Goshamala played, Bartel almost threw it away trying to sweep Harmeet Singh. I know Sa could have carried on. Just those little moments, Nepal didn't win yet again.
What I'd love to have seen there is Dipender Singh a recharge at him. Jesse Singh's not quick enough to worry you too much in terms of, particularly with that sort of side niggle that he has. Charge at him, try and hit him over his head for 6. Just make a statement, say we're still in this chase. Okay, it's 14 runs per over we need, but just try to change it. Change the momentum. It's been a very, very flat performance across both innings from Nepal, and that's off a 4-day break. If this was kind of the second game in 3 days and they'd had all the emotions of beating Scotland just 48 hours ago, you could kind of understand it. It's really surprised me today, Nepal. Edged away. Edged fine. And edged for 4. Saiteja Mukamala again. Now, we haven't seen him in the field today because he's barely touched the ball. But a really poor drop the other day. 4 or 5 fumbles and misfields that turned 1s into 2s. This time, it's turning 1 into 4. And it's only a bit of momentum. It's still not the 13 and over they need, but they get 11 off Singh's 8th. Do they believe the 200's up? It's 202 for 7.
They'll believe a bit. And again, that's what intent can do. It can just create a little bit of pressure on a fielder who's saying, oh, I got to cut off the boundary. And what should have been regulation. All day should have been regulation. Instead, what's happened is it's just ballooned out of his hands. 40 off of 27 this partnership's worth now. And if they can slowly start to build this, that Nepal crowd will get into it, come to life, and Dipender Singh Irie can make some magic happen.
I'll tell you something. If Nepal have a real surge here at the death, and they could. Let's say they get 10 and over off these last 6, and they end up losing by 19 runs. They get 262. The post-mortem of this game, well, it's going to be remarkable. Well, that's not a good effort from Saiteja Mukamali. Batted beautifully earlier. I think something the USA management needs to assess with him, his task, his winter homework, if you will, ahead of January. Go away. We love your batting. You've got to work on your fielding.
He's got to be sharper. Moving swifter to the ball and then collecting it when he gets there.
Shadi van Schalkwijk to bowl possibly the 3 overs at the death from this end, and the ball now follows him. Does better this time. Does feel the pressure, doesn't he? You can see it there. And a look up at the big screen. Knows that he's on it. Probably knows we're talking about him. Here's the equation. 79 off 35. It heavily favours USA. Just need this experience of Van Schalkwijk to close it out. Can Nepal find something? Pretty much been the best partnership of the innings for them, and it's come for the 8th wicket. This goes a long way up. It doesn't go very far. It's going to fall out of reach of everyone. Don't think Krishnamurthy could have got there. It was just kind of in that no man's land, wasn't it, between the 3 fielders. Deep backward point, deep cover and extra cover. Nobody could get there.
Yeah, again, do you know Sumbukam is going to swing? They're going to try to score every boundary they could. There's no real blame to be shifted on to any shoulder out in the field. But this is your matchup. The Bender Singari is going to have to go, to use a baseball term, yard. They're going to have to go big against Van Skalkvik in this over.
Full toss, hammered down the ground. It's Mukamala who does well. Isn't it funny how the ball follows you just when you've had a I don't remember him fielding one today, and now he's just fielded 3 and 4 balls. Does much better this time. Credit to him. 2 runs saved.
Yeah, again, it's very similar to what actually happened on the 4. He's had to move well to his left, and he's had to get into position. The key here is he's gotten into position quicker, and he's got the entire body behind the ball. It doesn't go cleanly into his hands, but he's got the extra body protection behind it versus the previous over. It was just his hands pushing at the delivery.
No, he loves the helicopter shot, Desiree, but not able to get the base that he needed to implement. I think it's because he was thinking leg side initially. If he just held his shape from that line, he could have gone over extra. And I think he probably would have got 6, but he was already kind of premeditating it into the leg side. Finally, some intent from Nepal. It's really taken to all the way in the 42nd, 43rd, 44th, 45th over now to really have a crack. Ball follows Mukamala again. He does enough. Single.
Again, and you see what the intent has done. It's forced USA to change fields, to bowl different types of deliveries on different lines and different lengths. The bowlers have to think, versus when you're just blocking it around, even if it's a good ball, just manufacture that into one, because that'll just start to frustrate and just build partnerships. It'll frustrate that bowling side, and you'll get gifted runs. But you have to show a little bit of intent to create that opportunity.
Cammy gets one in the slot, pumps it down the ground. Not quite going to be 6, but will be 4. Again, it's not the 13 plus they need off the over, but they're just hanging around just a little bit in the chase. 9 come from that Van Skalkvik over. It's 211 for 7, 5 overs remaining.
Take the game deep, they say. It's good awareness from Sumbukami, knowing Van Skalkvik's gone outside the off stump towards the wide line. He's come out in that direction, deep in the crease, and he's just used his hands through the line of the ball. Good work to pick up a boundary at the end. Jesse Singh will come back with the ball, and here's the look at the bowling card right now. They've used the 6 option today, and Jesse Singh's been good up until this point, but you can see Van Skalkvik's been expensive. He's the bowler they've taken on. Sarbnath Devalkar's gone for some runs later in his spell, and Jesse Singh, now can they target him? There's still some overs to go of Nosh Kunjige if they wanted to use it, but you reckon it is going to be some combination of Van Skalkvik, of Singh, and of Devalkar to close out the final 5.
Well, time to have a shot at the dark. Why not? They've got nothing to lose here, Nepal. As you said, net run rate's not going to be a factor, certainly not this early in the comp. They've got to take down Jesse Singh here. Find a way to turn this not into a big over, but a daddy over. They're going to get runs. Oh, lovely bonus runs. Watch Irie. He's going to go for 3 here. And the direct hit is going to cost 2. There's no real need to throw that, was it? Not sure who the fielder is. StreamChamp Madani on as a sub fielder in the floppy hat, and the direct hit has cost 2 extra runs and 3. Not a bad start to the over for Nepal.
Well, Irie turns down the second. Or sorry, Sumbukami turns down the second. Irie wants it, and then right there turns it down. Irie gets back, and then boom, off to the races, and Irie was able to turn it into 3 runs, big time to start the over.
Oh, now you can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to go over backward point. Probably the right idea, because Cammy might not have the power to get down the ground for 6. Just can't get anything on it.
Again, this is that into the block hole, and you're just wondering, would it not have been better off just taking the second run, going for 2 here, not coming back for the 3rd to get Irie on strike to face these deliveries from Jesse Singh?
He just wants to show us how fast he is. That's what he wants to do. So much so that he sprinted the second and then
jogged
the 3rd. I'd have been gasping out of my lungs. Getting back for 3 there. Into the block hole. And a fumble will allow not just 1, but 2. Again, good running. You do have to wonder where this intent was the entire innings for Nepal. If they batted like this throughout the innings. They might well have chased down this 282. Instead, they need something miraculous from here. 66 to win off 27, the equation. You need a surge here. You need a 666, a 466. 3 balls, 3 boundaries.
And that's where the wickets and the partnerships would really come in handy for Nepal. Could Anil Shah stick in? Could Bertel stick in? Could Mala start to find and churn out runs? But they just lost wickets in key intervals, and now the Nepal faithful believe, but it just feels like there's too much work to be done. A lot of work to do for the bowler.
Great Yorker. It's really well bowled. Now the men in the circle are so deep that every ball is a run. It's mystifying, isn't it, as to where any of this energy and intensity was. Are we talking about the first 42 overs of the chase?
Yeah, you reckon close to that. Again, you can see just how deep everyone is in the circle. That point, that cover, the mid-off, the fine leg, everyone's on the ring, and it's because there's that much intent to score versus just to put the ball straight down.
And that's spot on. Part of that's the game situation, the field, yes, but the other part of it is the pressure and the energy and the intensity from Irie and Kami, and I just don't know why it's taken 45 overs to come from Nepal. Really good delivery. He misses that block hole. You reckon Irie's getting that for 4 or 6. Body's going on the line in a big way here. Such bravery from Jesse Singh.
Yeah, tough strand of character here from Jesse Singh, and he's bowling quite brilliantly. Again, he's hitting that block hook with such consistency that we haven't seen throughout the ODI portion of this series. He's missed the Yorker on plenty of occasions in the 2 Scotland games they've played, in the Nepal first match where he's tried to go for it. He's missed it. Right now you can see a little bit of Major League window over there. This Washington Freedom hat, a Texas Super Kings jersey. Not sure what the logo is. Is that a Dallas Mustangs logo there? So some major and minor league contingents over there. Just seeing if the USA can get over the line.
Big hit. That's going to go all the way. A little flourish again. It just keeps Nepal hanging around. Look at Kami almost puff out the chest and say, come on, Dependra. It's game on here. We can do this. 13 off the over. Little less than they require. But Nepal, well, the cardiac kids, they're almost being resuscitated back to life. A shock, a jolt from Sampal Kami. That's a great shot for 6.
And the reason Jesse Singh's missed his line and length there is the use of the feet from Sampal Kami. He's come and attacked Jesse Singh, so now he's tried to change it, tried to pull it back. In doing so, he strayed down the leg side and just allowed Sampal Kami to hit with the angle and just time it to perfection for 6 runs.
This is why you never leave a Nepal game. I didn't want to say it on air. I'm not going to name who they were, but I saw 3 fans leave in Nepal shirts when Kushal Malla got out. And I saw them walk out of the Grand Prairie State. You never leave this team because you never know what's going to happen. They are unpredictable, if nothing else. And it's 58 off 24. USA massive favourites, but you just never know. Can Irie find a kind of monster, a daddy over that would bring this back into the equation? It's got to be 20 plus. They need a 20 plus over, and they need it now, and they need it immediately from Dependra Singh Irie. Can he get 2 here? He wants it, but Mukamala does well. Quicker to the ball this time. Good read on it.
He's played a wide there. Irie, he was gifted that run to the USA, and actually really well done from Mukamala. It's a touch wider when Irie was on strike. Had to move well to his right, and again, you can just see that urgency in the field. And you almost sense a little nervous energy from the Nepal fans. They were dead silent. They were dead quiet. And right now, there's biting in the nails, biting in the glasses, hands across arms all the way through.
Kami wants a wide. He's not going to get it because he's just come a bit outside the off stump. There's an old saying, man, it's the hope that kills you in life. And oh, it's agony, isn't it? Supporting Nepal sometimes for these fans. They've had a good day out, whatever happens, but they just love to see a win. As soon as you get towards this required run rate, 14, 15, 16, it's not impossible, but it's pretty close to it. And you need something extraordinary. Every dot or every single, a complete killer. Edged, going to be edged away for 4. Very choreographed, isn't it, the plan from Van Schalkwyk? 4s help, but 6s are really the ones that are needed.
And I don't understand the field with this plan. I don't understand why third man would be inside the ring if you're going to have the plan to be both full outside the off stump. You know Kami's going to take big swipes at the ball. You almost reckon you would dare him to step across his line and hit you over mid-wicket. That's fine, but don't gift these 4 runs over third man.
The fans enjoying the action after a real lull. Need more boundaries, Nepal. And Kami is going to provide them 4, followed by 6. Look out in that Chinese lantern display up there. It was right into the slot. Not where you want to bowl, particularly if you're at Van Schalkwijk's pace. They've got 11 off the over. Can they make it 21 with 2 more boundaries? And then who knows, maybe it is game on. A nice little counter punch here from Sampal Kami.
This is brilliant. Again, he knows it's going to be wide, towards the wide line outside the off stump. He's positioned himself there, and a miss of length, this time from Van Schalkwyk, just guides it into the slot and then guides it away. It's brilliant batting from Sampal Kami.
Just want to show you something here as we come out to have a look at this. Look at the surge. Look at the surge from Nepal. Why is it taking this long to come? That's the question.
Again, it's the wickets and bunches in the end, and it's the lack of intent. Whether you score runs or not, you can just see the way Kami's using his crease. He's moving laterally to just throw off Van Schalkwijk's line and length. Versus when you see the other batters go out there, when you talk about the Malas, the Bertels, even the Asif Sheikhs at times, you just saw them stay stagnant on the surface.
Yeah, this was into the slot, but it's gone miles into the sky. It should be taken. It's Saiteja Mukamala, and he holds on. And look at the smile on his face. Big, big moment for him. He put down a similar one, didn't he? That was against Scotland. Is that the winning of the game? It was Kami who had all the momentum. He looked for a maximum down the ground to get to 50, and Mukamala holds on to a really good catch.
He's done really well there. I didn't think he was in a great position to take the catch. It was up in the air. He had to run all the way from the boundary rope. And if you put this down, Kami's certainly going on to make 50 and push this total. Again, we spoke a lot about Saiteja Mukamala's fielding rather critically, and probably rightfully so. He'll tell you that himself. But you look at the way he's made up ground here as the ball's gone straight up. But the way he's taken that with his hands, it was rather brilliantly done here. He's not in the greatest position, but he got it stable enough with the base, watched it all the way in, and he took it sliding down. Monik Patel, wry smile for him as the young man takes the catch of Sampal Kami.
Yeah, superb. Absolutely brilliant from Saiteja Mukamala. A long way away from our position. He deceived me a little bit, the way in which he rolled over and then threw it in. You wondered, had it gone down, but the brilliance of that catch wasn't just getting to it and holding on, but also rolling over to protect the ball. Sandeep Lamachani to the crease at number 10. He slices one away to get off the mark immediately, and they should have got the second to get Irie back on strike, but instead he'll be stranded at the non-striker's end. It's a wicket taking over critically for USA, and the last bits of hope for Nepal. Are they all but extinguished? 46 to win off 18, the equation now. Let's get a look at the batting card. You can see here it's only Karen KC, the injured Karen KC, to come. He won't really be able to run, will he? And look at the number of batters who've got in and then got out, Aman.
And you look at everything above Sampal Kami. I really look at Gushamala, for me, as he had to show a little bit more intent. For Bertel, I thought he played a bad shot against Harmeet Singh. There's no need to try to sweep him. You can stick in and just find your way through. I thought Anil Shah could have easily carried his innings on. It was really a soft dismissal, wasn't it? Right after he gets 50. There's little moments in the game that Nepal once again didn't win.
Karen Casey does have the pads on, and we know what kind of a character he is. Even if that's a sprained ankle that he's got, he's going to go out there and bat. He just won't be able to run much. The way he bats, he doesn't need to run much because he just pumps it straight down the ground. Lamachani very capable of hitting a big ball or two. He'll look through mid-on and through cow corner. Exactly where he goes. Irie could have got back for 2 possibly, but I think he wants to strike, so he's happy with just the single. Well, Dipender Singh Irie, now's your time. It's 45 to win of 17. We know you've got the levers, you've got the gears. Can you show it? You're going to need, what, 3 or 4 maximums probably in this over.
Yeah, you're going to have to get a big one. And if Nether Valkyr's come in, it's the right time for him to come in the bowl in the 48th over. He's scheduled to bowl at 48 and 50. And if he takes the wicket here, the game's over. Iree's needs runs and needs them quickly.
Great bowling. Right into the block hole. Best result there is a single for Nepal. Super skills from Nether Valkyr. He's going to be trusted to bowl 48 and 50. Van Schalkwyk will bowl 49. You'd have to say USA dominated this contest pretty much from start to finish. Just have to apply the very final finishing touches. Just hold their nerve.
And they've controlled the game all the way through. They've been very consistent with the ball in hand. That's been the big thing. They didn't let anything loose go to Nepal. Nepal can still walk away with an early win.
It should be taken. Harmeet Singh nestles underneath it and holds on. As Nether Valkyr will see the back of Sandeep Lamachane. One of the heroics that he showed up in Canada where he made a career best 49. And it'll bring the last man standing quite literally for Nepal to the crease as Karen KC will come out.
Always had to go for it. There's no other choice. He needed to find a way to either get Dipender Singh Iree back on strike or find the rope, and you just felt he was always going to go. Harmeet Singh's done well, looking straight up into the sky with these clouds. Makes it look easy. And now, I reckon there's no more singles in the over. It's either Karan KC, which is going to be a brave effort from him. Again, was in the field for 2 overs after he got hurt. Had to come straight off, get more treatment. He's going to go big. He's going to have to swing. You have to credit the character of this man.
Yeah, great effort. I think he'll be able to kind of trundle the single, but he's not going to be able to. He won't be getting any 2s. If you're wondering what we're talking about, he rolled his ankle as early as the 3rd over of the game. Actually appealing for an LBW, wasn't he? And one that looked very close, given not out. And he is putting his country first, as he always does. It's a big ball down the ground. I don't think that should be impacted too much. It's his left ankle even, that's injured. Batting deep in his crease. Not going to get the single there. And he's just not moving fluently. He looks in pain, doesn't he? Think of all the heroic efforts coming out to bat when injured. Iree just coming down and saying, okay, if you can get one anywhere here, or is he saying have 2 free swings now?
I think he's just have two free swings. I don't reckon that he's going to get a single away and then Iree's going to get a single away is going to do any good. You're looking for a boundary in the over if you have any chance going into the last 2.
Edged, put down, 4. That helps. Take every run they can get here, and then it'll be over to Dipender Singh Iree in the 49th and maybe the 50th. Now Jahangir goes down. He looks to have done himself a nuisance. Didn't go quickly to this, did he? That was a definite chance.
Oh yeah, it looked like he was just lackluster after the edge. Yeah, moved very, very late. And he'll scamper away for 4. 4 runs nonetheless for Nepal. I reckon Nether Valkyr's probably best off trying to push this one well out wide of Karan KC. Keep it out the arc where you obviously see KC's not moving quite well.
The 6 would be a great result here for Nepal. Can Karen KC do it? No, I think they've decided, I'm just happy with giving Iree the strike. That he could have got there for 1, even with the leg injury. It's over to you now, Dipender Singh Iree. 40 required from 2 overs. You need to do what you did in Qatar and find some maximums. 6 in the over would help. 48 bowled. It is 242 for 9. Just one more look at this points table. Aman. Just confirmation that if USA win this contest by whatever margin, they're already above the net run rate of Canada. They will go top of the table.
Yeah, and it'll be a big way for them to close out the year. It's probably been the best year in USA cricket in just terms of the results on the field. They've been very good in the T20 game. The ODI games carry that momentum through. And they want to be atop the table headed into 2025. And these wins at the back end, especially after the way this tour started, would do themselves good headed into with just a little bit of momentum into January.
Here we go. Irene needs 40 off 12. That again might have been a wide if he didn't get anything on it. He's had a couple like that. Nash Kenjige with a little bandage on the chin does the fielding. Make that 40 off 11. North American fans will be delighted. I don't think many would have thought. I know Netherlands could go past both of them with a good tour in Oman, and they may well, but I don't think many would have thought Canada and USA joint top of the table after nearly a third of the games of the tournament.
Yeah, it's a brilliant time to be a North American cricket fan. No doubt about it. Canada got off to a very strong start in the league, and they're taking their advantages.
Oh, great skills from Van Skalkvik to Irie, because he just nailed that guideline twice, isn't he? And it's kind of out of the hitting arc. Irie's real strength, because he's a diminutive stature, he's in and around his body. Those fast wrists, those fast hands, he's hiding it away from him so cleverly.
And what I reckon Irie's got to do here is take a page out of the Sumpokami playbook. Shuffle outside the off stump, get deep in the crease, and create your own length and create your own hitting arc.
Over the offside, Irie sets off to run the single, then he remembers Karen KC can't run, so it's ... This game is right on the brink now of being closed out. 40 to win off just 9. USA, you cannot help but argue they've deserved this victory.
Yeah, they've been ahead of the game the whole way through. Again, we'll talk a lot about Nepal's inconsistencies with the ball, but USA were good enough to take advantage. They dug in through the hard parts and then just took advantage when it was wide, put it away for 4 runs. If it was down the leg side, they found the rope pretty consistently.
Does get one more where he'd want it, but doesn't get the timing. Problem is they just can't run ones or twos. KC's stranded at the non-strikers and barely able to stand, let alone run or walk. God, he's moving really gingerly, isn't he? I suspect, with everything we've seen, that's probably a sprained ankle.
Yeah, you reckon it's something of the sort. It doesn't look like in 48 hours he's going to be able to go on Monday.
It's the helicopter out. Again, can't beat the outfield, so you suspect he'll run a single here, but it's not going to matter. Some chance of USA ring out around the ground. Aman, I'm going to let you get down for the post-match presentation after this over, but just wanted to thank you for all your thoughts. Really good USA win this.
Yeah, it was. Again, clinical. After what this tour has been, they needed something of this performance to show their dominance, and I thought with the ball, they were just consistent, and they built everything to plan.
It's Aman Patel. As Dipender Singh Irie is not even going to run the single. I'm not sure whether KC is capable of it. And it's a rather disappointed, dejected figure that both of the batters cut as we get to the end of the 49th to 42 for 9. USA will be delighted. They've got the wood over Nepal in this format, particularly after the 3 defeats. So the last rights is Netravalkar will bowl to KC. KC will hammer it away. We're not even going to run the single now because I just don't think they want to do any damage to Karen KC's ankle. So for Nepal, it is a second consecutive defeat to USA after the 3 T20 wins. And USA are going to have the pleasure, the delight of sitting top of the table as they head to their about 2-month break they'll have before heading out to Oman for the next triangular series. This time KC's happy to run the single because he can really sort of just walk it as much as anything, as does Dipender Singh Irie. There's Nash Kenjige with the little plaster on his chin from that blow that he took when he dropped the catch at Kushal Malla. Been a funny old game, this one today. Really has. Hard to understand some of the approach in the chase. Definitely a wicket that's just got a little bit tired, understandably, with its third usage. Dipender Singh Airi just unable to get anything right out of the screws like he's needed to. You see that there, the ball bowled into the surface by Netravalkar, and just it dies before it gets to the batter. So something that generally, apart from the final over Harmeet Singh got after Gulshan Jah, something that Cammy did really well in the third power play, USA have noticed and gone with that as well. And they're going to prevail by a pretty comfortable margin, you'd have to say as well. There was a few flutters as Cammy made a rapid 46. And as that one is, well, ostensibly put down, but probably 4 runs saved by Sarah of Netravalkar. Just 2 balls left. Look at the reaction time here. He would have had, well, a fraction of a second just to put his hand out. Jermaine Lindo might be somewhat thankful for the bowler, as Nepal are going to be left a bit bemused as to what's gone wrong here in today's game. That'll be a wide. Have to bowl that one again. Smile on the face of Netravalkar. He's been the star with the ball in his hand, effective as ever. 3 for 46 from his 10 overs. Jesse Singh wasn't needed to bowl his full 10, but he battled back really well too. Van Schalkwyk held his nerve at the end, and a bit of a surprise Kenjige only bowled the 8, but I think maybe that injury he took to his chin meant he was off the field for long enough, and Manik Patel didn't want to go back to spin. There's another one that's miscued. We'll give Sarah of Netravalkar a 4th wicket next to his name, and maybe throw him firmly into the picture of the player of the match discussion, as USA will run out ready winners. They have been really good, haven't they? Outskilled Nepal with bat and ball, and they've also matched them in the field, which has been a rarity throughout this tour, and they will round out 2020.